everybody. Welcome to the Sharon and Joe Show. My name is Sharon.
Hi, everybody. My name's Joe.
Joe, I'm so happy to be here with you starting our video.
Yeah, it's nice. We had a great day yesterday for my youngest's birthday, thanks to you and the kids. I'm so busy working like 7 days a week, and it's like I don't have the time that I need to go out and get the stuff, and it was just really nice to know like that you had that covered for us, so thank you.
Well, you know what the thing is? This is the thing with Joe. He works nonstop all the time, like literally every minute he's working or thinking about working. So sometimes he gives me way too much credit when I'm just trying to help out a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? Your son's birthday was exciting because we all got to be there and have dinner together and cake, and it was really, really nice.
Yeah, he was really happy too. But so, I got laid off of work, my main job a couple weeks ago, and it was just been a blessing because things have been falling into place for me where I'm getting side jobs left and right, landscaping, painting, like all kinds of stuff. I've been physical labor, but I think I needed that after the 2.5 year divorce. It's exciting to be able to I'm out of the gate running, man, and it's just it's nice because it's not always going to be like this, but while it's like it's nice to finally catch up and not having to somebody steal money out of your bank account and trying to hamper and sabotage your every move.
That would tend to make your life better, right? To eliminate that.
Oh my gosh, it was just a huge weight, and the legal ramifications of even being separated but still married lingered heavy, and I knew that it was just one of those things that God had told me 2.5 years ago, follow it through all the way. He gave me an out,
I've seen God in every aspect of my life, in your life, in our life together with the kids. It's, I think it's hard. I didn't grow up. You grew up, well, were your parents religious?
No, my father was a Christian. He kind of feared that way, but my brother and I went to Catholic schools. I'm not Catholic. There's a lot of hypocrisy in religion in general, but the main substance in the belief system is there. I believe in Jesus. But no, I was blessed to go to private schools, and but at a young age, I was kind of, I don't know, I just had a special connection with God in a way,
That happened to me too, because I was going to say, I didn't grow up with religion. In fact, my father especially is anti-religion. He thinks that people who believe in God are stupid, low class, that type of thing. But for some reason, I always believed. But, I think it was difficult for me when I was younger to really trust God, because it almost seemed like, okay, yeah, God, maybe he'll do that. But there was a part of me that felt like it just wasn't true, that I couldn't count on him. But as I've gone through this whole narcissistic thing, I don't know what else to call it, this narcissistic beast, my relationship with God is pretty solid. But I'm aware it could falter, but so I try to keep track of that, but I've been able to trust him.
It's easy to get complacent, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But ironically, it was the pain from the narcissistic abuse and reliving my childhood trauma and codependency. It was that pain that really brought me closer to God. God didn't go anywhere. I was the one that moved. It was just, but by the time I looked back, I felt I was in a desert, and it was really far away. But it was the pain that brought me closer to him.
That same exact thing happened to me. It's weird because, like I said, I always believed, even though I really shouldn't have because of the way I grew up, but I guess it benefited me in the long run, right?
Yeah, I mean, to imagine that there's no creator. I respect people that are atheists or agnostic, but it's my belief system, and I try to live by faith and walk a prayer, that's what I do.
So do I. Ditto there. All right, so should we get into the video?
Yeah, what do you got in mind?
All right, so I thought tonight...
Oh, thank you guys, too, for the birthday wishes for my youngest son, and it means a lot, so thank you. It just means more than you'll ever know.
You know what? I can second that. It really does. It's just so nice. You guys are so supportive, and Joe and I appreciate it, and that's why we like to open up our life.
Sometimes I feel guilty, you guys, because I don't have the time to respond to comments. It's because we got a household of a big household here, and we're trying to get our feet lifted, and there's no excuse. But I hope you guys know that I do care. We do care. Sharon does her videos every other day, and I pop in our date night. We do the Monday video on Saturday night, but I do care, and I just wanted to say thank you.
I think everybody knows that. I think so. So, Joe, what about we talk about jealousy tonight? Now, not jealousy with ourselves. Well, I guess, I don't know. How should I say it?
Let's talk about character defects. Some of our character defects. We all have narcissistic traits. Okay, there's a difference between like a narcissistic personality disorder, which is totally like on another planet, and being snobby or stuck up, or just being a human being that can have just regular flaws. So sometimes we get jealous or angry and, you know, resentful and stuff like that. I'm a flawed empath. I think empath, when people are like, well, I'm an empath, it's like, that don't mean shit. You know, I know a lot of a-holes that are empaths, you know what I mean? I used to be one of them. So,
you know, when Joe says that, he is so not like that. I've never known you to be that way.
that was before, back in my days when I was ripping and roaring and using drugs and drinking back in my, God, I started at a very young age. Really, that's really bad. I went to Catholic schools. I was an altar boy and I was drinking the priest's wine.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Like, I can't sugarcoat that.
I made my amends too. I took money out of the thing. Yeah, I went back though. When I got sober, I made my amends. I paid my restitution to the church. The priest knew. He's like, I knew something was going on. He's like,
wait, I just got to interrupt him. I am like literally dying here. Like, what? Why would you say that? How could you do that?
Because I was an a-hole empath, you know, and I had more issues than a box of Kleenex tissues. Thank God I have empathy and I have insight. That gives me the ability to change, but even then, that's impossible without God.
I think it's hard too when you're young because you know, I don't know, like you don't have the same conscience when you're young as when you're older because real life hits you, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was spoiled. Everything that I wanted, I got, and whatever I didn't get, I stole. I was a really bad kid. Thank God when I was 25, you know, it was a series of events that happened. I call it divine intervention, where I finally cleaned up my act and got my stuff together and changed. You know?
Well, I think that you are fantastic and I admire you and I don't think you're a bad person at all.
I love you. Thank you.
All right, I'll take that cash now. Thank you. So when I was saying jealousy, and Joe kind of hit the mark there, it's like almost like, because I have these memories when I was still entangled.
Okay, so tell me what happened. Like, okay, Sharon wanted to talk a little bit about jealousy. When we were talking before, I was like, that's kind of like self-pity.
Yeah.
But like, give us what was going on at the time, like in your life between your entanglement with the narcissist, and when did you feel that those feelings come up of jealousy, and of who?
I noticed jealousy when it was after my ex and I had split up. So it was over the last like 2 years.
Okay.
And it was specifically when, you guys know I homeschool my kids, and they used to go to a co-op when we lived in New Hampshire. And this co-op was just, you know, like I know men homeschool too, but the majority are women, right? Women, they're married, their husbands work, and
you can't say anything without offending anybody now. But they got a new name for people, X, or what the hell is it called? I thought there was a Generation X, but it's like people that will get offended if like they're male or female, so they have some other name they label them. Your daughter.
Oh, you're talking about like pronouns like Z and they or something like that.
Holy shit, you guys. Okay, keep going.
We're too old for these pronouns things, right? I identify as she, her. Joe identifies as she, her.
I identify as she, her. No, I'm a dude.
I was just making sure you're paying attention.
I'm paying the hell attention.
All right, good. So I was, so when I'd go to this co-op, I dropped my kids off, and I just started doing this. It was Tuesdays and Thursdays. So every Tuesday and Thursday, I would go drop the kids off. But
What's a co-op?
A co-op is, well, it's when a bunch of homeschool kids get together and they're in like a classroom setting.
Okay, I thought I'd ask because at least around here, there's not a lot of homeschooling and stuff like that. So I thought it was something like that.
Yeah. So it was actually at this big church. It was really, there were over 100 families that went to this. It was big. The kids were in classes with like 25 kids or so. And it worked out great. Like it was a good thing. But I would go there and I would drop the kids off. And then I guess it was it was probably when I picked them up, now that I think about it. But I would be in the parking lot just watching people. Not creepily, but I would be like watching people. I'd watching like moms come in and they'd get their kids out of the car and walk in, and everybody had these smiles on their face. Now, of course, to be fair, like if people saw me, I was doing the same thing. But I can remember thinking, why me? And I really I couldn't understand how this could happen, because the whole thing with narcissism never made sense to me. It still doesn't. How a person can think that way, how they can be that way, it's insane. But so I used to be jealous. I used to look at these other women and I was so jealous. Like, why can't that be me? Why did this happen to me? How could this have happened? And then I would be like, I'm a good person, aren't I? I try to do my best. And I was kind of looking at it like things that happened to me were a direct relation to who I was as a person, but I knew that was flawed. I don't know. It was hard.
It sounds like it's more self-pity than anything else, which is a form of selfishness, self-centeredness, self-condemnation, self-pity.
Yeah, there was definitely self-pity there.
Yeah, and now it's like you said, why me? Like, why not?
I feel that way, yeah.
I had a good friend who used to tell me all the time, he said, everybody gets a turn on the wheel, Joe, and when it lands in your turn, you accept it. He told me one time, I was in a meeting, and I was complaining about something. He said, listen, man, if you put your problems, you wrote them down and put it in a little box. And then everybody did, and then everybody switched, and you got somebody else's box, you want your damn box back.
I can believe that that's true. It always seems like worse, that your own problems are worse than everybody else's. I actually still feel that way to a degree. Like when I'm at work, I'll be like, God, why is my life so difficult compared to their lives? No, I don't even know what's going on, but you feel that way.
I told you before, I had a friend who used to tell me all the time, don't judge your insides by other people's outsides.
Well, I think of that too. Like, that's true. Like, if people saw me, I think I generally appeared to be happy. And it's not that I'm not happy. I love the life that we're building. But there's still the struggle. I'm still having issues with my ex. I mean, we're still trying to recover financially from things that have happened. But overall, I am a happy, content person. But these little things, these jabbers are in my brain at me at all times.
Yeah, at the time, like you felt a little bit of jealousy, and I don't think like you were to the point where it was just like I wish they were dead, and I wish that happened to them.
No.
It was. I think it sounded more like, why me? More of like a pity party.
Well, I think it was also when I was trying to understand everything, and because the thing about narcissism, and I'm sure you can relate to this, it's difficult to comprehend the way that they act. I can't understand it. I cannot. It would be like if you told me, Sharon, can you go get the mail? And I'll tell you I'm going to go get the mail, and then you find me at some park down the street like 5 hours later, and I never got the mail. Yeah.
Well, I think, in my opinion, like narcissistic personality disorder, it's not it really doesn't give it justice to what this is.
Oh, I don't like that. The name?
Yeah,
I agree.
It's like, it's totally like, I don't know. It just doesn't. There should be something like I don't know, like hurricane, like some kind of a hurricane or a tornado.
Well,
it's like
it's difficult when you tell other people about it too, because
most people don't know.
No, but it sounds like, if you said that, it sounds like the person is vain. That's the least of your concerns when somebody you're with has NPD. But people think that it seems like nothing. It seems like if you name like a great white shark, a marshmallow shark or something, you know what I mean? Like, that must be cute. It's ridiculous.
It's a mind game, and they're playing war, and it's a psychological thing that's happening to you slowly, like very subtly, and it's like they lull you to sleep, and you just don't know. For me, I didn't know what the hell reality was.
Yes, me too. Yeah.
I thought there was something really wrong with me, because she could look at me dead in the eye and say, no, I wasn't with that guy, or no, I didn't steal this. And I knew she did, but she sounded so convincing. Like, I think here's how it works.
Maybe they believe it.
I think this is how it works. You got your left side of the brain and the right side of the brain, and their left side, like, tries to convince the right side of a lie, and the right side like will eventually buy it, and then it'll tell the frontal cortex to go ahead and open your mouth, and out comes a lie. I believe that a lot of times, not all the time, sometimes they straight out lie, like, and they know they are, but many times they rationalize. So that process of rationalization in their head, they sell themselves in a lie to the point where they finally believe it, so that they could go ahead and sell it to you with full conviction. And then you're so effed up over it, you're like, am I going nuts?
Yeah.
Like, they could say the sky is purple, and like, a codependent like me was just like, holy crap, man! Like that last hit of acid I did when I was 24 years old,
It's
like,
kicking in now.
yeah, I'm having a flashback or something like that. I guess she's right. You know what I mean? And
Well, I
my
heard
God,
somebody say one time that if you believe a lie is the truth, it's not a lie. And that's like a philosophical question in a way.
the truth is, I forgot what it said. The truth is like relevant, or basically, it all depends on the perspective of the person in receiving the facts, or whatever.
Yeah, it's like it goes in one way and it comes out another way. Like it just gets jumbled up somewhere inside your brain and heart.
I'm glad you talked about that, though. I think as people that want to truly recover from ourselves, from the narcissist, from their own trauma, we have to get honest with ourselves. That's being honest. Like, yeah, I was jealous at a time. I had self-pity. Like, who doesn't? There comes a time where you run the gamut of emotions, and it's.
Well, I'll tell you another thing that I used to think sometimes, and then I want to know about you. Like, if you also felt this way. When I lived in New Hampshire, I lived in a really nice neighborhood, and our house was one of the only houses that didn't have this professional landscaping service come to do the yard. When my ex and I split up, my 13-year-old son was doing the lawn. I've never mowed a lawn in my life. Like, I didn't know how to take care of a lawn. I just didn't know. I mean, I knew you had to cut grass and stuff like that, but I didn't know, like, you're supposed to put fertilizer down and all this stuff. The yard did not look good when we left. And, it was like cut, but God, if you're up close to that yard, like, it was green technically. But, oh, you guys, I used to be like, why? Why does that person have this yard service? Why can't we have the yard service? Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't bitter. It was more like, I was at the point where I was at this point where, wow, like, I made these decisions and look what's happening around me.
Yeah, and then comes in like the self-condemnation. Like, when you're trying to get honest with yourself and take responsibility for your part in things, and then it's hard to find a healthy balance and look at things without emotion at all, looking at them logically, like fact finding, like doing an inventory if you had a business, like finding out the truth about the stock in trade, like what do you have and what don't you have and what do you need. We're running through that emotional thinking in a gamut. I remember how many times that my ex, she was a drug addict, which was just one of the many symptoms of her multifaceted sociopathy and other things. So the thousands, the tens of thousands of dollars he should do on treatment, I was like, man, my brother's got a great job and he's already got a 401k, and it's like all of this money that I could be saving, and like I want to move ahead. I have all this ambition. I'm willing to do the work, and she was like holding me back. And part of my sickness was, well, that's the price you pay if you want to keep your family together and not come from a broken family like you did.
God, that's like a horrible viewpoint, but I understand that. Like, because when you're going through this, all of a sudden you're hit with all these arrows of disbelief. Oh man, Joe, that's a difficult one. Did you? I used to think that way too. Like when you were talking about like how all that money you could have had. My ex was given so much money by his parents, like enough money where we could have actually had like a summer house or something that. It was like hundreds of thousands of dollars. And to think, it's shocking to me, you guys. I leave this marriage and I'm actually in debt. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so I know that it's crazy.
From my experience dealing with narcissists, it's like, at least with mine, and I know similar with yours, it's like money grows on trees. Like it just comes from the sky. There's no healthy respect. Like when I had my business, I was working 80 hours a week and going to school and being a father and like getting up early before the break of dawn. Like I knew like that money just doesn't, like there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that are here to try to make a future so that my kids could have a better life than I had. And like they have no respect for that at all.
Did you suffer from jealousy the way that I did, where you would see your friends or family or other people and wonder why that's not your life?
When I moved out to the city that we're in, the reason why is my hometown, Catholic schools were very, very, very expensive. Like the cost to go to university is how much it was. And I wanted to find a public school system that was like top rated. So we moved out here, and it was like upper like middle class, and I liked it. I was like, you know what, I could do this, man. You know, I'm sober. I got my stuff together. But I like part of the drive was I was ambitious. You know, I was ambitious and wanted to move ahead, but it was like she was like a dead weight. Every time I wanted to move forward, she would sabotage it, and like everything would come crumbling down. And there I am, like, so yeah. Sometimes I got envious and jealous of other people. It's like, man, if I could, like, why can't she just be the way I want her to be? It's not. I wasn't accepting reality.
That's a really good quote. Like, why can't she be the way I wanted her to be?
That's the truth.
Yes.
Like part of my problem, my biggest thing I had to overcome was acceptance.
Yeah.
Like I had to accept that narcissists do what narcissists do. Like,
but before you knew there was a narcissist in your life, you like, I don't know. It almost seems like you cannot, like, reality doesn't exist. You don't know what's going on.
I mean, here's why I think it's important. Like, people are like, well, who cares? Like, abuse is abuse. Well, I get that. It's cool. Being in my position is how the hell am I going to find a solution if I don't know what the problem is?
Yes.
Like,
That's true.
if I have no idea what the problem is, and then like the little like clue or hint that I got, like as far as my ex being a sociopath and like just having lots of issues other than that as well, was holy shit. That led me to, I'm the bigger problem. I'm a bigger problem. Like, holy crap, why did I allow this to happen? What the hell is going on with me?
Oh God, Joe.
But
that is my life too. I get it.
I needed, like, you know how the narcissists, they what do they call it? They cookie crumb? Or they breadcrumb?
Yeah.
Like, I think God was like you ever watch that E.T., the movie? Remember little Elliot?
Yeah.
And he was trying to get
Reese's
E.T. Yeah. God was giving me like little hints that eventually I looked inward, thank God, and found like part of my issue is I don't accept her for what she is. And what she is a narcissist. It's not who. Because I then start to humanize her. And I can't, because this disorder, as I said, is like, there's got to be another word for it that just says danger written all over, run for your life. NPD doesn't say that. Like, it's a disorder. Oh, it's just a personality disorder. Like, they don't see, like, it's just so much more.
You know, I think I heard this quote before to you guys, and I've used this several times. It's so true. This is, I think, for all of us. This is our life, right? Almost nothing, like literally nothing in your life is as important for your future happiness as who you marry. Like, that is just fact.
Yeah, Sharon told me that like a long time ago. She's like, Joe, like, I want our kids to know, like, that this is going to change their life forever. And if it's not a wise decision, and if they don't have wisdom and discernment, you know, it could be a bad deal. You know, we were talking about jealousy and self-pity. It took me a while to get into that gratitude, like, because technically speaking, I should be dead or in prison if I would have kept on drinking and using drugs. And as a matter of fact, I was falsely arrested and charges got dropped like 2 or 3 times as a result of me not accepting who she was. Like, I was willing to risk my freedom for this
But I think
delusion.
part of it, though, you didn't know. Like, that's the thing that I keep going back to with these situations. Like, some of the stuff, like, that I put up with, I didn't know what I was really dealing with.
It took a while, even after I found out that it was sociopathy and narcissistic personality disorder. It took me a while to, like, accept, to try to get my arms around it, to understand enough to say, stay away, like,
Well, I think
say,
another part of the problem is that when you don't know what it is and you're first learning about this, it's almost like, is this real? Like, say you were married to somebody and they had cancer. You wouldn't have this, you might be shocked or surprised, but you would never have this moment of this.
I never
what?
knew this existed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's just, there's got to be, that's part of why we do this is, and a lot of people on YouTube is, there's got to be an awareness, like, to let people know. I wish they would have taught this, and maybe I was too stoned in high school to kind of be paying attention, but in psychology, they never like, there's 2 things I wish they would discuss more, like this kind of stuff in high school, and also finances.
Yes. That's actually not the narcissist thing, but financing. That's part of why I homeschool the kids, because I can make sure, not that you couldn't if you didn't homeschool your kids, but there was like this mindset going into it. But, oh, geez, Joe, yeah, when you are dealing with one of these things, your world just gets upended. You can't see straight. You don't know what's going on in your life, and then trying to recover, and then you start realizing things that are going on, and all of a sudden you see, like, all around you, life is continuing on, and people are getting married and having babies, and
they're moving forward, and this, and here I am stuck in cognitive dissonance or obsession, or like, I don't know, getting off on her stalking me, and like still being entangled in it is like is a plague, man.
Oh, geez, Joe, I agree 100%. But I think jealousy is natural. It's part of the recovery. As long as you don't stick there. You actually said something a minute ago, and I forget exactly what it was, but I was thinking this in my mind. There is no way that I could have, I think it was said, you said that it took you a while to have gratitude again. I understand that. Like, I don't think that I could have ever gotten to that point if I didn't believe in God. It's literally 100% my faith that gives me gratitude. I think I'd still be feeling bad for myself.
It's part of my makeup, man, and that's okay. I mean, like, I know that God did for me what I couldn't do for myself. I know my best thinking got me entangled with this thing, and I didn't, the same thinking that I had, like, isn't the same mind that got me out. It was God's, and I think that that's okay. Most of the people, as a matter of fact, that I've listened to and heard that have recovered, that are actually thriving, that have survived, all pay some kind of attribute to a God of their own understanding.
Yeah, well,
you and I
believe that, you're dealing with spiritual warfare when you are with a narcissist. Like, that's what it is. And we've done some videos on that, but I agree with you. I know not everybody feels that way, but I do know 100% there is no way I'd be where I am right now if it wasn't for God. There's just no way. I don't know where I would be, but it wouldn't be in a good place.
Most of the people that have a problem with it are, like, that I've gotten to, are people that have not undergone the abuse and the trauma and have relived their own childhood trauma as a result of these hurricanes, or a loved one that might be a brother or sister that may be diagnosed with that, and them, like, having a problem with, oh, you got God and this and that. Well, there's not many people that I've come across that actually have been a victim that have, and maybe that's, I don't see it a coincidence. Like, most victims, like, believe in God.
Yeah, I agree with you. That does, I'm sure there are some people that don't, but yeah, for you and me and for a lot of people, oh my gosh, like, I don't think I'd be able to get through it. I really don't, because I'm able to look at life now in the way where even when something bad happens, I'm grateful for this or that. Like, I do feel gratefulness every day in many ways.
Where was the turning point for you? Because I know that you weren't like always jealous 24 hours a day or this or that, but when was it that your mindset and your perspective shifted to more one of gratitude and faith? Like, when did that start to happen?
Geez, I'm trying to think. It probably was
when you started doing your videos. Like, so you're such a powerful example, because when I'm in a lot of pain, I tend to isolate and go into the desert. Like, you took it out there and you wanted people to know. You tried to help other people, to say, hey, is there anybody out there? And then if there is, you're not alone. And it was just cool. But I knew you had to have some gratitude when you started making the videos.
I don't remember specifically when, but it would have been, before you and I got together. But it was probably, you know what? I bet it was after the Child Protective Services investigation was over on me. And that was in February of 2020. So yeah, it was probably around there, because I was, this is the thing, and I know you can relate to this because you were literally put in jail for something you didn't do. When you are like, and the thing is, nobody believed that this was true. So I can imagine how different it would be if it was, but they still put me through an investigation. When you know that other people have power over you, to the point where they could take your kids away, man, I was heavy in prayer, and thank God, like, that, like, worked out okay. The investigation was ended in my favor, but still, that was traumatic. So I think it was probably around then that I started feeling the gratitude, because I felt at that point, you know what? Screw him. I'm living my life and I'm going to do this. And that's been my attitude I can't tell you an exact day, but that's been my attitude literally every day, every day.
Yeah, you were definitely a power example for me because I really didn't start to. I think gratitude is like an action, but I really didn't start to. The hypervigilance and the symptoms of CPTSD started to lift like dramatically after the day I got divorced. Like the day that I got the paper, it was just one of those things that God had told me, like, follow it through from
Yeah,
cradle to grave.
you always said that to me, and there was like a difference there. And sometimes it's psychological, or sometimes maybe it was like something that God had you do.
Yeah, I think some people think God are like the 2/3 of the brain that they don't use, or the divine conscience, whatever you want to call it. I call it God, but when that happened, it was like removed, the hypervigilance, and like it was the same day I got laid off, and for some reason or another, I knew like it's gonna be okay.
Well, it's weird because when you say that, that sounds so horrifying to somebody, but I'm like kind of smiling here because for me, when I was here to see it, but that is God's fingerprints all over this. It to me, that's what it is, because here's like this horrific thing happening and you're okay. And that's part of like having a faith in God is it's going to be okay.
I believe the faith comes from God. Like, I believe it was instilled in me when whatever I was created or whatever the case is. But yeah, like that's why on the channel, like a month or so ago when I got laid off, I wanted people to know because I don't want to be fake and I was just like, listen, Sharon will tell me if I'm being an a-hole or doing whatever, but prayers and God working in my life, and sometimes I still get scared, a little nervous, but it's not the way it was, man. It was horrible before.
For anybody who's still entangled and afraid, or maybe you're feeling this jealousy or like anger even, I can promise you, and Joe and I are very different people, but I've heard from so many other people, it gets better. It does, but you can't pretend it isn't happening. Like that's the thing. Like I've mentioned probably like in the last 4 videos, so it's my example I made up, and I'm gonna get my use out of it. If your house is on fire, you would not sit around hoping it goes away or hoping you're not really seeing what you're seeing, or is that smoke? Why am I hot? You know what I mean? You would get out. You would get up and get moving. That's how you save yourself from a house fire. You maybe grab your kids and your pets, but you would get out because that's what you have to do to save yourself. Well, similarly with narcissism, that's what will save you.
That's the caveat. Here's the deal. Here's the real deal for me, is that it won't get better, and you will go to the gates of insanity or even death if you don't do nothing. You could pray for potatoes all you want, but if you don't pick up the shovel and the water,
that's what I mean. Like you get up and get out.
You gotta. There's work to be done. There's inner work to be done, and we're going to be doing a seminar on that soon. Like what we did to recover from like not just narcissistic abuse, from codependency, from ourselves.
Well, how to be the best person that you can be.
Yeah, that's it. For me, and we're different too, like for Sharon, but for me, the self-pity and the self-condemnation, the jealousy, like I got to get out and I got to do something for somebody else. I got to get active in somebody else's life, because once I hear their problems and once I'm able to like touch somebody's life and help them, whether it's rake the leaves or go out for coffee with somebody or call up a friend that hasn't, and without thinking about, it's not just thinking about that friend, but actually picking up the phone and dialing, like that gets me out of that mode of in my head,
Yeah, I agree with you. And there are things that you can do. Yeah, so Joe and I have some plans for the channel. Some videos we're going to be making, some series of videos. So stay tuned for that. We also have some other little surprises that'll be popping up here and there. But I thank you guys for watching, listening. Really appreciate it. It's our date night, so you get to spend date night with us.
Yes, just hopefully we'll be back next week, I think, with the kids. And we got little Belle, our little dog, is she's a little bit sick, but I think she's doing better now because she's licking me. So hopefully if we survive this week with all the kids and the dogs and this and that and blah blah blah, we'll definitely be back next week.
Actually, I want to tell you guys one more thing before we leave. I'm sitting here looking at Joe with his little frou-frou dog. So, see, I know you guys haven't seen Joe, but he's big and muscular, and he has this little tiny white fluffy dog with blue ears and a blue tail and a little ponytail with a bow. And you look very manly holding her.
Oh, God, don't even get me going.
Oh, actually, do you want to say how you took her out with you yesterday? Or
Oh
yesterday.
yeah, we went to go get pizza for my youngest's birthday, and I wanted to take Belle out, so she had her little candy cane pajamas on because we've got matching pajamas for Fiona and Belle, the girls.
I'll put pictures up for you guys.
Yeah, and then I wanted to bring her in, and then I went inside the pizzeria place, and this one lady, like, she just looked disgusted. I was like, "Listen, man, I'm paying $60 for this pizza, man. I'm bringing my damn dog in."
Yeah, it was cute. Actually, Paris went out with her today. She went to the pet store. So Belle's been all over lately.
Yeah, she's doing better.
Yeah, she's doing good. All right, guys, thank you. I really appreciate it. I will see you on Wednesday. And Joe, see, I'm more of an optimist than Joe. We'll see you together next week. Bye, guys.
God bless you.